This is an amoeba. It's a one-celled organism, but as a eukaryotic cell, it has most of the same organelles which a human cell would have. Note the prominent large nucleus in its center. This nucleus holds the DNA, which is the instruction book on making proteins. You'll also notice a few other things. Notice how many structures you can see in the area outside the nucleus called the cytoplasm. Especially in the higher resolution views, you can see all of the vesicles, the tiny membrane-bound bags, and all of the internal structures in these very complex eukaryotic cells. Also notice that the cell is capable of movement. This is because it has a cytoskeleton made of actin, very thin filaments, and that a protein known as myosin is capable of pulling on these. So when myosin proteins pull on the cytoskeleton made of actin, movement is possible. In fact, some cells of the human body can move in an amoeboid fashion like this cell. And what they do is they will disassemble their cytoskeleton on one side of the cell, where they are moving away from, and then reassemble these actin subunits to form new structures in the part of the cell that they are flowing into. And so there are, for example, white blood cells, which can squeeze between the cells lining blood vessels and out into other tissues in a way similar to how you see this amoeba moving here. This microorganism is known as a paramecium. Now, it moves because it has these hair-like filaments known as microtubules, which are made of the protein tubulin, which surround the cell. It has thousands of these. And in the closer views, you can see all of these cilia beating in unison. Now, there are many types of human cells which have cilia as well. These would include, say, cells of the respiratory system, of the trachea, of the nasal passageways, which are sweeping mucus away from the lungs and towards the mouth, where it can be swallowed in the stomach. So many cells of the respiratory system bear cilia and wave mucus away from the lungs. The cells of the oviduct possess cilia, and their movement helps to create a current that the secondary oocyte will use to reach the uterus. And so there are cells in the human body which have cilia, which we can see in evidence on the surface of this paramecium. Microtubules are not only part of the cytoskeleton when they exist singularly, they also can form clusters, such as the cylinders known as centrioles, which function in cell division. The cilia, these hair-like structures which can move the substances around a cell, or a very long hair-like process known as a flagellum. Some cells of the human body have hundreds to thousands of short cilia, while there is only one cell of the human body which has a flagellum. These algae here are known as euglena, and they move the way a human sperm does. They have this one very long flagellum made of the same microtubules which compose cilia and centrioles. You can see at the very tip of the cells in some moments of these videos the flagellum moving. So microtubules not only can compose cilia, which are short hairs typically present in large numbers, they also make these very long flagella, which in humans only exist on sperm cells. Interestingly, it was recently discovered that most, if not all, mammalian cells have a primary cilium, just one single cilia, which is used for a number of function, and mutations which affect this can cause a number of genetic diseases.